Okay, everybody. I was having a little trouble with the software there. Apparently, I had set up the live streaming, but I had it on private, so nobody could see it. Which, why would you have a private setting for a live stream in the first place? Uh, what we got here? Steve Wells, RGB, J Coop. Hey, good evening, everybody. Um, so I just wanted to do a quick live stream. I got a friend coming over. We're gonna go see a movie and dinner tonight. We're gonna go see Aquaman. I guess we never got around to seeing it. Not a huge DC comic book guy, but just get out of the house and see a movie. So we will see how it works out. Hey, Brown Dwarf, good to see you. Um, anyway, do you think the Predator movies are based on Bigfoot or even Dogman encounters? I've never heard anything. I've seen a lot of the behind the scenes and production stuff for Predator. If you saw the original thing that they were going to do before the Predator, it was like Jean Claude Van Damme in like this dog headed suit. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it's kind of like all the space movies are supposed to be preparing the public for disclosure of aliens. So maybe it's something like that. That's a good question. I think a group of Bigfoots could probably take out a Predator. Uh, so, yeah, anyway, I just wanted to get going and see if you guys had any questions regarding dangerous cryptids, strange stuff, any kind of general questions, Bigfooting questions, uh, things about the channel, really anything. Nothing's off the table. I see Todd Standing, and I see a lot of other people do these kind of Q&As. So I figured maybe I would do one. I haven't done one in a while. Eat some shrooms, then watch the movie. Thanks, Brown Dwarf. Yeah, kind of expect that kind of behavior out of you, Brown. Um, let's see who else is in here. Milo Aaron, Wiz Babs. I think the person was parked or something when they saw it in a tree. Okay. Uh, Tigers in the Mist. Jake Hudson, David Hughes. Oh, okay. Are you going to interview people? No, Maddykins, how the heck are you? I don't think anybody's called me Maddykins in a long time. But hi, Dick Richards. Um, am I going to interview people? Yes, coming up, I'm going to start doing more live face to face interviews. Well, probably not live. I'm going to go meet with Claudia Ackley here in a couple weeks. I'm going to go do some other field work and eventually like to do some stuff more kind of news related, almost kind of journalistic approach. Um, so yeah, eventually I'd like to do some interviews. As far as like phone interviews, like other channels do, where people call in, I'm just now figuring out the software, so I might be able to do that. Uh, See the new movie, "The Man Who Killed Hitler, Then Bigfoot." I do want to see that. Actually, that's on my list. I will probably either Netflix it or Amazon Prime. Who is the most dangerous cryptid in your view? Uh Boy, that's a tough one. Some of the big ocean ones are kind of scary, like the giant squids and stuff, because they can take down like a whole ship apparently. Brother, you are alive. Mattsquatch is real, I believe. Yes, I am alive. Any chance you hear about the real vampires in New Orleans and they run the city? I've heard lots of things about vampires over the years, and in my early 20s, when I used to go to like downtown Hollywood in the middle of the night and go to a lot of the weird clubs and stuff like that, I met some strange people. Some people claiming to be vampires, like the whole psychic vampire thing, and then other people claiming to really drink blood. And they're like, "Hi, I'm blah blah blah. I'm a vampire," and I'm like, "Hi, I'm Matt," smiling politely. Um, so yeah, they mentioned you in a live stream going on right now at Mattsquatch. Cool. Uh, so So who else is doing a live stream? Let me take a look real quick. I got to switch accounts. I got like three different accounts here on my phone. I got like a ghost account that I snoop around in, and then I got my actual Mattsquatch account. So let me see what's going on. I don't see anybody going live at the moment, other than me. Anyway, what do you think of the black-eyed kids thing? I've heard stories of the black-eyed kids going back a long time. Ever do any researching in Oklahoma? Not yet. I'd like to. The black-eyed kid thing. I can't believe Brown Dwarf is a moderator. I know. What was I thinking? Um, The black-eyed kid thing's very scary. On my channel way back, probably over a year ago, I put a video up, and nobody watched it. It was called My Encounter with a Faceless Man. I was driving down Santiago Canyon late one night, and I saw an old man coming the other way, and as I turned the corner and the headlights illuminated him, he had like no face. It was just pure white, and he was dressed in like, it looked like clothing from like almost like the 40s or 50s, kind of old timey flannel or whatever. He was just kind of like walking down, and it really freaked me out. So, um, yeah, so I think the black eyed kids things, they got to be something demonic, or as Dave Outlandish would say, something manifesting itself to, or make you think you're seeing it, but it's not really there, which I think in why some of the Dogman encounters, when people shoot at them and people throw rocks at them and it has no effect, that maybe two or three people are hallucinating the same thing because there's something else that's controlling what they're seeing as opposed to manifesting itself. Most dangerous cryptids are the huge dogman or a pack thereof. 10 to 12 foot rakes people are seeing with the 10-inch claws on their hands. Yeah, the rake thing with the big claws. All the videos and testimony I heard of the rake going back years and years of these kind of white gangly creatures were like small humanoid looking little imp type things. And then over the years, the rake thing has really blown up to where there are these big creatures with big claws. And it seems to be, so that seems to be something, I don't know what's going on. Greeting Mattsquatch, wanted to talk with you regarding your area in SoCal. I'm with Hypothesis in the panel with DD and Rick. Wanted to discuss the SoCal area specifically. True to form, email me at mattsquatchpresents@gmail.com. There's too much going on right now to really have a private conversation in the middle of this. But please email me. I would really like to hook up with you guys. Black-eyed kids sound creepy. So yeah. Niven, how are you, sexy? I don't know. How is Matt Niven doing? With lots and lots of activity around the Kimchi Mountains, there's something push over a large tree near the camp. That was probably a Bigfoot. Oh, yeah, that's the thing. All the guys with, Dogmans are awful scary and they're frightening because they run in packs, and Bigfoots and the more carnivorous versions of Bigfoots are also very scary, like we've discussed many times on this channel. But for me, when it comes to just full man-eating terror, I got to say the whole mountain giant phenomenon that goes on way back in the hills, like the red-haired giants that carry clubs and have the fangs under their, protruding out, and supposed, people eaters, and, the whole mountain giant thing is very fascinating to me. I mean, where Bigfoots, can maybe tip over a car or a tree, these things like pick up boulders the size of a car and put them on top of houses and stuff. I mean, absolutely huge biblical giant, terrifying to even think of. So to me, that's pretty scary. Mattsquatch, do you get orbs in your areas? The Sierra property, I have had I did a couple videos about it. If you look back, I'm over like 200 videos now. It's amazing how you do 1 or 2 videos a week or 2 or 3 videos a week for a year and a half. How many you end up with? But yeah, I have seen orbs. I've seen orbs once before. I've seen other lights in the woods from a distance, and I can't confirm nor deny that they were orbs. Didn't get close enough to find out. But one time I saw an orange light headed through the woods, and it was the same night as my Sasquatch encounter. So what does that tell you? Angela's Sasquatch got SoCal on lock. Yes, those guys do. I really enjoy those videos, especially when I can't get out. I really like looking up Angela's Sasquatch and watching them get out there. Wicked Squatch, hello. Michelle Perez, Gandalf Green, hello. Charcoal, yeah, I see what you did there. Very cool. What do you think about the stairs in the woods making people go up and die from when they clot in the head and vanishing? I've never heard of that. Never heard of a thing of stairs. And if I find some random stairs in the woods, I'm not going up with them. What do you think goblins... What do you think about the goblins not in Kentucky and Alaska? I think they're kind of like a pugwudgie or the little people, some of the little demonic humanoid little creatures that people see from time to time. But that's just... any truth to the Glimmerman thing? By the way, I've seen an orb in a cemetery. I've heard of Glimmerman. I don't know much about it. That's more paranormal than cryptid, so I really don't know. I'll have to look into it. Glimmerman sounds interesting. The average Bigfoot is 7 to 8 foot tall. Maybe you're 10 to 11 feet tall. I've heard mountain giants get up to 18 to 20 feet tall. Yeah, they do. They get absolutely huge, like double the size or triple the size of like a Bigfoot. So yeah, that's why that's why you really don't want to mess with them. I was abducted in a silver flying orb in my yard along with two women in May 2009. We were gone for 1.5 hours. That sounds fascinating. It almost sounds like the orb opened up to another dimension or was a spaceship or something. That sounds interesting. I hope you're okay. Don't need the movie. Exists. Live in East Texas. Last big cold front, heard dogs barking at 3 in the morning. Heard two sets of knocks and heard three in Ohio. I hear them in the middle of the night too. They call 3 o'clock the witching hour in the paranormal ghost world. But there definitely seems to be something with Sasquatch around 2 or 3 in the morning. I think they know. So you got to think 3 in the morning. That's even a biggest times of the year. That's only 3 in the morning during the summer. It gets light out at 5:30, so they know they're only a couple hours from getting light. Um, so yeah, maybe that's just maybe they get up early, or maybe they get up kind of in the middle of the night and they snoop around, or maybe they just really wait because they know that maybe humans will stay up till 1 or 2 in the morning, but they know by 3 pretty much everybody's asleep. So maybe that's why they sneak around more. I don't know. There's definitely something to it. Uh, yes. Sorry, I got my phone going off too. I'm trying to do a million things at once, and I'm part of the ADD generation, so I have a hard time focusing anyway. Uh, is there a way to wake up at 3 a.m.? There is. I have to wake up at 3 a.m. for work too. Yeah, I know. I used to have to do that too. I've done shift work for many, many years. I don't do it anymore, but I'd be in at 7. But if the graveyard guy called out, one guy would stay till 3, the swing shift guy, and then the day shift guy would come in at 3. And if you wanted your half-hour lunch, you'd come in at 2:30. So there'd be that overlap. So yeah, you'd get up at like 2:15 in the morning and cry to be there at 3. But overtime, baby. And usually the graveyard shift was never too big of a stressor anyway. Um, David Hodges are around Nacogdoches. Nacogdoches is a cool place. I'd love to go down there and check it out. Also, what's his name? Paul Howe has a really cool shooting school there. I'd like to go to sometime. I have a Dogman encounter, and I'm not sure. Might know where it still is at. Hey Matt, just seeing your live stream going on. What's going on? Been raining? Enjoy the rain we've been getting? Yes, we've been dumping rain. It's funny, I took my daughter to the park today, and there was like a whole, usually we run into 1 or 2 other people there. There was like all these kids there, all these moms and dads, and they're just like desperate because it had been so rainy to like let your kid run around. My kid saw the grassy area and just ran for like 20 minutes straight. Just ran around like the field. Just run, 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 run. Like she'd been cooped up all week because she had. So yeah, the rain's good. Lots of moisture. I mean, in Southern California, you're always perpetually in a drought. Now we're at like 125 or 130% of our snowpack. And most people don't realize a lot of Southern California even has wells, and a lot of our wells are getting recharged. So this is a good thing. Um, let's see. Hey, Steve Maria, I'd love to hear the details of the story. Dick, you said he was abducted in a silver flying orb. Yes, get a hold of Steve Murillo. You can find him on Stellar. You can Google him. He's pretty well known. He's been on TV and stuff like that. Steve Murillo is like my UFO guy, and I'm like his Bigfoot guy. But you get a hold of him. He knows a lot more about the abductions and things than I do. But I still find it all fascinating. I think it's all part of the same mystery. Hey, Matt, thanks for your work. You're welcome. 37 feet of snow in Mammoth. Yeah, I know. That's why our snowpack is actually like doing really well this year. Do you believe that dogmen have the ability to transform pets into dogmen, or just start just by staring at them? I've heard this from an encounter. I don't know. It's a good thing I own cats and not a dog. I really don't know. Just kidding, Steve Maria. I'm kind of a big deal. You are, Steve. Lots of people have heard of you. When I say I'm friends with Steve, they're like, oh, you're friends with Steve. Lady in the Woods. Hey, Lady in the Woods. Anyway, what was I doing? I get so easily distracted. Oh, dogman turning. That sounds more like a demon demonic possession, being able to turn a dog into a demon, or make you hallucinate to think your dog is turning into a demon. Yeah, I've never heard that, but that's definitely a different aspect of it. We lived out here looking for us, and the guys in the house were crying and screaming. Where were you guys? I don't know. Is he on Twitter, Murillo? I don't know if Steve Murillo is on Twitter. Maybe he'll post up his email or something for you guys. And they're no longer friends with you. Yeah, people are still friends with me even if I tell them I know you, Steve. You're a pretty cool guy, I must say. Um, let's see here, Lady in the Woods, Clap Clap, Brown Dwarf. It's so scary. It didn't even document. Um, okay, I've had numerous encounters with a family of 3 Bigfoot. Interesting. I have 2 videos that have been posted to Sasquatch Chronicles. I think maybe I've seen them. I got to go back and check them out. You can forward them to me, mattsquatchpresents@gmail.com. You can send me Brown Dwarf from MUFON. Yeah, Steve Murillo is from MUFON. I believe it's UPARS. UPARS LA is the MUFON group, and then there's MUFON OC. He knows all those guys, all those crazy UFO guys. You know, they all know each other. Ascension, UFOs, crystals, world government. You know, I just go out and look for monsters. So it's really rather tame compared to those UFO guys, I must say. But it's all quite interesting. You got to go to. You guys got to go, guys. Mama says it's movie time. Everybody cool and be safe. Take it easy, Woodsman. You got to take care of your old lady. Was MUFON LA, now UPARS LA. Yeah, that's what I was saying, Steve. Because you guys branch out and do a little bit more than just UFO stuff. Hey, Matt, is your show The Bomb makes me hiding in retail stock rooms fun? You know, it's funny. I started releasing my videos around 8 a.m. Pacific time. One he had chosen in advance, Pacific time. So yeah, because that's when we used to watch all our videos at work with my buddies and I. We used to watch, top 5 Bigfoot videos and scary encounters. Is our first break was at 9. We started at 7, worked till 3, or 3:30. And first break was at 9 o'clock. Everybody took a break at 9, and we would watch videos then. Or everybody usually took lunch around noon, and we would watch more videos at noon. Or if it was graveyard or something, and you're there on a special project, we'd go hide out somewhere and watch a video. Hopefully none of my old bosses are listening. Well, it doesn't matter. I don't work for them anymore anyway. Hey, bro, got my rig stuck up in the Trinity Alps. Yeah. Brown Dwarf, you're pretty infamous around here, I must say. Everybody seems to know you. There's been a Dogman sighting in Nevada where I live. They've kind of been seeing all over. The only thing I've kind of noticed is when you get into areas where you hear of like mountain giants, like northern parts of Montana, Idaho, Alaska, all through Canada, obviously. When you start getting really, really north, you don't hear a lot of Dogman encounters. I mean, Michigan and Wisconsin, Beast of Bray Road, Michigan Dogman, I mean, it gets really cold there. So I don't know if it's necessarily a cold, or I don't know if it's Bigfoot or Wendigos or mountain giants keep the Dogmans kind of mostly in the lower 48. But yeah, it seems like they're kind of all over the place. All along, I mean, that was the big joke with Donald Trump, was like, build the wall to keep Dogman out, because I guess a lot of them come over the border from Mexico, and a lot of migrants have sightings of the two-legged lobos that chase them, and also Bigfoot sightings and stuff down in the desert too. So yeah, I mean, they're seen all over the desert. I think they probably hunker down at night and or hunker down during the day and run around at night. I mean, there's desert mule deer and coyotes and everything else. If they can make a living, I'm sure a Dogman could. How would I increase my chances of seeing a Sasquatch? I've been doing research for 2 years now. Well, my advice is to no DM in Oklahoma. Shh. Yeah. My advice, actually finding him, I should do a whole video about how I go squatching, is the stuff you see on TV of tree knocking and hooping and hollering and calling out. I guess that's fun, and it makes for a little more exciting TV, but for me, I'd like to approach it like a hunter. Are you from Cincinnati, Matt? No, I am not from Cincinnati, unless you're referring to a different Matt. Born and raised in Southern California. So anyway, what I always approach it, I'm going to do some filming. I have plans to go do all this stuff. I like to get, camouflaged. I like to take a shower. I like to eat apples and maybe some nuts, so I don't have like the same thing a hunter would do. So or oats, and you don't have like the smell of meat on your breath. And you can use the spray cover scent. You don't have to put deer urine on you, but they have cover scent that kind of mask your human scent. And just go out and be quiet. Tiptoe along, watch your footwork, don't go crunching through the leaves, follow roads and paths, and just be super quiet and tiptoe along. And just find a spot, maybe some cover, maybe behind a natural blind, and just sit and listen. and hang out in an area. Give it a good couple hours. Uh, you know, and so that's a really like I like a real covert way of doing it. I mean, even with the cover scent and trying to be as quiet as possible, they're going to know you're there. But I think you have a better chance at coming across them or them to behaving naturally. Or I think there's a lot more curiosity for them when a human doesn't have a gun in their hands, maybe one on your hip or hidden, concealed, because I always recommend going armed. But if you have a rifle in your hand and you're all camoed out, maybe you're a hunter. But if you're just kind of sitting there being quiet and you're not necessarily hiding, but you're kind of just sitting there being quiet, I think that's going to spark their curiosity and have their defenses a little bit lower than when they see a guy with a gun. Or typical human behavior when we go hiking, we just tromp around and fart and play on our phone and scratch and rustle around and talk to somebody else. But if you just kind of go out and be quiet, open your consciousness up. You may or may not believe in that side of the Bigfoot phenomenon, but I believe animals, if you have a dog or cat, they sense your intentions. Open mind, just think clear, positive thoughts, and just calm yourself and go out in the woods and find a spot, sit there for 15 or 20 minutes, get up, find another spot, listen to the birds. And that's another thing. If you hear lots of birds and squirrels running around, usually that's a sign that they're probably Bigfoot or a bear or a mountain lion or anything else probably isn't in the area. I know some of the places I've been when I've been out some areas and it's dead quiet. You're on a mountainside and you can look way down the mountainside and you're in all these trees and you can't hear anything. Like you could hear a pin drop, it's so quiet. That's when it gets eerie. When you're like, what happened to all the squirrels? What happened to all the birds? What happened to the rabbits? What happened to the bugs? That's when it gets a little bit eerie. And I think in certain situations, you might be in their territory. Not always, but that's the kind of the things I look for. Sometimes the absence of things is more telling than the presence of things. So anyway, Matt, could a machete work? I don't know. I've seen ugly transgender in Houston. They're probably in every city. Brown dwarf, dick. All right. Well, brown dwarf, if someone's being a dick, just block them. Lady in the woods, ho ho. Those are my two moderators there, my two gunslingers, Lady and seen running tab of 40 peeps that just vanished. Probably 50 by now. How many do I have watching? Oh, I'm up to 107. Hey, a super chat at $10. Woot woot. Thanks, Steve. Thanks for the donation, buddy. I'd say buy you a cup of coffee, but a cup of coffee's gotten so expensive that I'd just be giving the donation back to you. I guess I'll give you a ride up to Claudia's or take you bigfooting. When I went to the mountains a few weeks ago, I was out scouting spots for Steve to go look for Bigfoot. And hey, Brian Sullivan. Hey, Duke. Good to have you on here. Glad to see you. Hope you're doing well. The Duke is in town. Here come the judge. Here come the Duke. Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised to see Duke and a lot of the regulars on the Todd Standing live stream. Yeah, that was kind of funny the other night. I just asked him a question why he didn't have any full body shots, and he kind of went off. I didn't mean to set him off. And anyway, Todd Standing's a funny guy. Let's talk about something else. He bums me out. What is your point of view on the Dogman and Bigfoots having intercourse with each other? Oh, I thought it was going to say intercourse. Wow. Wasn't there a video about a monkey and a frog going around? Anyway, I don't know if that's happened. That kind of reminds me of a joke, actually. But anyway, I don't know if that's happened. Whichever one is the giver, and boy, that would be something to watch. Maybe it wouldn't be something to watch. I don't imagine it going well. You guys are ridiculous. Love it. I love it. Check out Two Visions. Hello from Idlewild, Matt. Love your channel. Hey, you got enough snow up there? I feel like the last few years it's been kind of like weak-ass winter up in Idlewild, and Big Bear 2 everywhere is just dumped on right now, which is great. They need it. The mountains need it. All the wells up there that everybody lives off need it. The wildflowers, the ferns that come up during wet years. We pretty much need it. So I'm glad to see Idlewild has snow. Lake Hemet will fill up. Lake Fulmore, Lake Foster, all those places will fill up. Probably be a good season for squatchlets, because if there's lots of rain, there'll be lots of herbivores, and then there will be rain and snow. Then there will be probably more food and maybe more squatchlets up there. So that's cool. I've heard carpenter like tree knocks since I can recall the days of the Tennessee River by LBL 25 years now. Yeah, Bigfoot is fake. Well, I almost kind of hope so. Whoa, Foxy63. What up, Matt? Mexican here. I can confirm there's a lot of Dogman stuff going off. Thank you for the. You really donated $50? Holy crap, Foxy! That is amazing. That's great. Wow, I didn't expect that. Hey, Brian, my buddy's here doing a live stream. Um, there's wine there. It's Friday. He's off of work before we go see a movie. I had a half-empty bottle of wine. I want him to help finish off. I'll drive tonight. So, hey Brian, say hi.
Hello.
Welcome to the internet. There's 110 people watching right now. So, anyway, I got to go back to the screen and make sure I didn't just screw everything up. It probably did. Okay, that was bad. I shouldn't have done that. 116 people. So Foxy 63 confirmed a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, the whole. If it wasn't so, I mean, I'm only like 2 hours away from the southern border, and it wasn't so dangerous half the time. I would probably like to do it in Arizona, where the gun laws are a lot more easy to get along with, where I can open carry and carry guns concealed, and if I walked around with a rifle. It wouldn't be as big a problem as it would be in Arizona or Mexico, but I'm really not that far from the border. And if the coyotes don't get me, if the other kind of coyotes don't get me, if the smugglers don't get me, if the border patrol doesn't get me, then the Dogman will get me. Oh, it's not $50, it's pesos. Oh, it's 50 pesos he donated. Oh, yeah, that's still cool. It's pretty, a few bucks. Anyway, I didn't see that. It says MX 50. Oh, Mexico $50. That's cool. Anything helps, though. I do appreciate it. Yeah, so, I mean, one of these days, I think I'd either have to get my normal Sasquatching buddies trained up a little bit better on the guns and search and evasion stuff, or find some people that are really well equipped. I mean, I've got the Hummer, and I have shot out of the sunroof before. But I don't know. I think as long as we have our driver's license on us and maybe a passport or something, and you know, I don't know. I know there's a lot of vigilantes that go down the border to try to pick up illegals, and I'm not condoning that or anything, but I'm just trying to say for people who go down to the border all the time. I don't know. I'd love to go do an investigation. I'd have to do some research to some safe areas so a gringo like me doesn't encounter any of the wrong people. Drink it in, man. What do you think the devil dog is? Well, they're Marines. No. The devil dogs, I think that the whole devil dogs thing, and some of the South America and Mexican traditions of the curses, where the dogs of war and the devil dogs type thing, I think they're Dogman, personally. I think they're some kind of an offshoot. There's different types of Dogman. Some look more like a, what do you call it? Like just a big wolf that stands up now and then. Other ones look very human-like. So maybe that's got something to do with it. A friend of mine used Yuma Area Border Patrol. Said oh crap, I lost it. So much stuff. What really happened between the original Sasquatch Chronicles members? Someone asked me that, and they've been asking my opinion like I know something they don't. I've talked to Wes a dozen times or so in my whole life. Half a dozen times. I saw him at the International Bigfoot Conference. I've talked to him on the phone a couple times and emailed him. I was on his show. He's nice enough to post my stuff to his website. I have been listening to Sasquatch Encounter since like the episodes were in the teens, and now he's at like episode 500 something. So here's what I heard. I heard that him and William Jeving had a conversation where Wes was going over his encounter, and he said something like it was a full moon. And he had said before that there was no moon that night, or vice versa. And William freaked out on him. Will Jeving said that, he's a hoax, or he's lying, or he's not being consistent. That's what I heard. I have no idea. As somebody who's had some close encounters with Bigfoot, I couldn't tell you what the moon was that night. Honestly, I couldn't. Could have been full. It could have been not been there at all. And then as years later, things do kind of blur and you kind of do mull things over. when you're being actively, so basically I 100% believe Wes is what it comes down to. I think maybe he got a detail wrong or misspoke, and that caused it. Can neither confirm nor deny. There's stuff out there saying uh, that Will was some part of a misinformation campaign. But I think Will and Woody, I think they're stand-up guys. You can hear it in their voices, especially in the early episodes when they talked about their encounters, how they were in tears, how frightening it was for them, because they basically got attacked on a road and surrounded by these things. So I basically believe them, and it was some kind of mistrust, disinformation. It was right around the time Wes started doing like the insider shows and talking about the government cover-up. So there's a whole lot of theories on what happened to him. But I believe Wes, and I think it really happened to him. And I think, and that's pretty much all I've heard about it. And I don't really care about talking about it anymore because I think Wes is telling the truth. Here, devil dogs are a legend we have that is commonly known as the Cadejo. It's an old tradition of a giant wolf that can tell good and evil people apart. He takes care of the good people in danger. Very cool. It's kind of funny. There's a lot of crossover there from what people have said about Dogmen as well, how they can actually be good. And there seems to be a lot of encounters. Wes's encounter is the only lame story of all the interviews. Yeah, I think Wes's encounter is pretty damn good. I think my encounters are pretty lame compared to a lot of the ones he had on there, but he still had. What's your favorite cryptid? Ooh, well, it'd have to be your type 1, your classic Patty type Bigfoot. But I mean, Dogman are just so intriguing. The Wendigo type Bigfoots are so intriguing. I think lake monsters are interesting, but I'm not so much into those guys. Some of the stuff they have in Australia is just absolutely bizarre. So, yeah. Let's go down here. Look at the super chat. We're at 112 on right now. Werewolf versus a Dogman. I think also around his first trip down to East Texas. I think Matt, yeah, it was right around the time that did his first trip down to East Texas, and he was going out with Bob Garrett. But anyway, that's enough about Wes, Sasquatch Chronicles. His show's great. He's awesome. He's a humble guy. He does a great service for having an outlet for people to talk about their encounters, because a lot of people just need to talk about it. The BS meter goes to full scale when Matt is in his encounter. Yeah, you're welcome to think whatever you like. Okay, Brian, I'm back. Okay, Duke, good to have you back. I think the Maleki Mamembe is quite interesting, considering the tribes are clearly seeing something. Well, it's the same thing with like the billy ape and some of the other strange creatures way back in the African bush. People seeing. Place show in your top 3 with no particular. I place your show in the top 3 with no particular order. Well, thank you. Wes is a really Brian Sullivan. Duke, sorry. Brian Sullivan is a really great, or Wes is a really great guy. He is. He's just the same as in person as you'd expect him. He's nice. He's humble. He's quite funny. He'll always take a second to talk to you. So every interaction I've ever had with Wes has been great. What's the most dangerous or cryptid you have encountered? I've never encountered a Dogman, I don't think. But I've been in close proximity with Bigfoot several times at night, and they are truly scary. So I would have to say Bigfoot. Hi, Matt. Randy Stone here. Hi, Randy. Good to see you. Is Bob Garrett still alive? Wes hasn't mentioned him in years. You know, I actually talked to Duke about that a while back. And yeah, I guess he's just kind of lying low and still dealing with it. I think when somebody harasses your family enough in your business and drags your name through the mud, telling you to quit talking about Bigfoot, you quit talking about Bigfoot. Is it possible to tranquilize a Bigfoot? Yes, but like tranquilizing a lot of creatures when you don't know the metabolism that they have and you don't know the size, because you could look at an 8-foot tall Bigfoot and think he's 600 pounds. He could be closer to 1,000. So you don't want to put too much. You could kill him, but at the same time, not enough, and he'll probably kill you if you shoot him with a dart. So yes, I think it's possible. There are stories of people, of Bigfoots getting hit by trucks and semi-trucks and stuff like that. And what's the cat doing?
Her head is like all the way around.
Oh, yeah. The cats are over there harassing Brian. Completely lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah, so there are reports of people, of veterinarians and stuff called out to tranquilize Bigfoots and tranquilize them, or giving them sedatives and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think it would just be a big guess. You just got to like what you would for a large horse or a bull at that point, as they get so damn huge, and give it a guess. What would you do with others around the tranquilized one? See, that's a good question. I think if you found one injured by the side of the road and it's not carried off by its compadres, then I think you are probably okay. But yeah, if you tranquilize one in the woods, all its buddies probably think you shot it or poisoned it. And let's say you better be pretty quick with those darts. Uh, you know of any Sasquatch attacks on humans? Yes. Uh, Go look up Ape Canyon. Uh, have you ever encountered a real psychic vampire? No, let me go back to that one. Let me go back to that one. Have you ever encountered a real psychic vampire, people saying they are but having no proof? They say, no, I've never encountered them. I've heard lots of stories and seen videos on it. I've talked to people okay, I've had people tell me that they were psychic vampires, like I said, in some of the weird ass clubs in Hollywood I used to go to in my early 20s. But I used to say I didn't get too close to them to find out. And they'd probably put their hand on my head and go, nope, and move on anyway. You know, okay, this guy really blasted me. I've always wondered in a super chat, how do you do the orange at thing? I've never figured that out. Mattsquatch presents, do you think the government kills and locks up anyone who captures a cryptid and refuses to keep quiet about it? I don't know if they... I think killing is probably one of their very last resorts. I think they do typical harassment and intimidation, a lot like what you see in the UFO world, and tell you, you shot a Bigfoot and you got its head in a bucket in the back of your car. You're going to get a call saying, hey, your beautiful wife and daughter or whatever are down here, or your family's over here, or nice house you have. It'd be a shame if it burned down. The kind of stuff you hear in the UFO field. But maybe if you had absolute truth, absolute proof, yeah, I don't doubt that they would do some very horrible things to people to keep it covered up. Because I mean, they pretty much get cold-blooded killers to work for them. There was a question. I should see if I find it. So Sasquatch Truth, BDRP North Texas field researcher. And I want to ask you, if anybody knows. I haven't seen D. Doss in a while from the BDRP. I know he had his... I'm probably missing a big chunk of the story, but he had his the insider guy who supposedly shot a dogman and then supposedly talked to an elder dogman in his backyard. And it was a fascinating story. There were parts I believed about it, and there were parts that I didn't believe. Like when he said him and his buddies were running through the woods with, he said it was about 15 years ago, with Barrett 50 cals. Barrett 50 cals, especially the ones they had available 15 years ago, are like 30 pounds. The magazines loaded are like 10 pounds. And he says they fired over 100 rounds. 50 BMG ammo, it's crew served machine gun ammo. It's not, and they use them as anti-material rifles. That, and they're also like back then even, they're like $8 or $9 or $10,000 for a rifle. And that's not even including the scope, ammo, everything else. Do you have any idea how kind of shape you'd have to be in? You're talking 40 grand just in rifles to have 4 guys outfitted with them. And the rifles are 30 pounds. Nobody runs through the woods with a 50 BMG. So that was one of the hard parts I had with his story. But some of those other parts were interesting. So any recent reports out of Azusa? Not that I'm aware of. So if anybody know what happened to DDoS, I'm going to email him here. Very true, Maddykins. Thanks for calling me Matterum. Yeah, I know the fact that Algar's resistant. It must be Algar's resistant everything. A season of lost boy. Anyway, Mattsquatch, you have the whole name and no spaces. Cheers from Vegas. You have the whole name with. Oh, you have to add the whole name with no spaces. Cheers. Okay, so that's how you do it. Thank you. War Dogs, you mentioned the ability to shamans to ancient tribes to transform. By the way, we're going to hang up this live stream here in a few minutes. We got to get going. I'm sure Brian over there is getting hungry. Although he seems to be enjoying petting my cat and drinking wine. So he's off of work. I think he's fine over there. The ability to transform into animals and warriors that could do that and natural, more like skinwalkers. Interesting. I know where DDoS is. He's occupied, but okay. Just as long as he's okay. Haven't heard from him in a while. I don't know if it was blowback from the show or I know his channel got demonetized. It always scares me. I know Duke got demonetized, and then he did, and then he was trying to reapply for it. It always scares me because I'm like, what are they doing? And I'm so scared to death of getting. I mean, I would still do this, but when you've worked, almost 2 years on a channel, 2 or 3 videos a week, and been a guest on dozens of podcasts and worked really hard to have, something that some arbitrary algorithm at Google or some engineer say, I think what he's saying is offensive, or I don't like what they're saying, and they just completely demonetize your whole channel. I'm going to go off on a little bit of a rant here. Then people say, well, it's a private company, they can do what you want. But then again, you also got to think of it as like the electric company. SoCal Edison's a private company, but it's also a monopoly. Where else am I going to go besides YouTube and do this? There are a lot smaller platforms, but nowhere with the reach. Kind of like if the power company said, well, we're not going to do business anymore with you. Where would you get your power from? So, I mean, I kind of see both sides of that argument. So I'm always scared to death that they're going to demonetize me as well. What's your point of view on mermaids? I don't think they're manatees. But I don't know. I mean, everything, ancient lore, a lot of different cultures and a lot of traditions and a lot of ancient lore have talked about mermaids. And there are people say that they're sightings. I think there might be some kind of interdimensional creature or something like that. I honestly have no idea. I mean, I'm into this, so I always think of the possibility of it. Okay, what do you think? I just saw something and it went away. Yeah, it's called YouTube, not MSN Tube. That was funny, Duke. Do you think dinosaurs could still exist? D is still cool. I talked to him a little less than a month ago. Yeah, I'm talking in the last few weeks. But people say, what's up with reptilians? Well, I think they're some kind of an extraterrestrial or extra-dimensional creature that occasionally abduct people. That's what I think reptilians are. I think they're one of the many races. What do you think about the type 4 dogmens, the fatheads? I don't know. I think you get into some of these. I think some of them might be a natural occurring creature, and I think some of them might be some kind of government experiment. Who knows? So hard to trank Bigfoot. He'll get back up in less than 7 minutes. Yeah, probably. Okay, let's see what else we have here. I think Bigfoots might be seen with dinosaurs. Oh, so back to the dinosaur thing. As far as them being leftover or relic areas, 65 million years is a long time for there to be a relic population of anything. Although you do look at alligators and crocodiles and some bugs and mice and stuff, and they're basically unchanged. I think what people are seeing is maybe something like when people are out in the desert and they see a velociraptor run by. I think, and people report it, and people report it often. I know like in South America, the dinosaur sightings are really big. I think it might be something extra dimensional, something from another, like a portal, and people are seeing into this portal, or these creatures are coming through. Or you're seeing back into time through some, because parallel dimensions have been proven to exist through science. And maybe you're looking into it, kind of like the whole city in the sky phenomenon people were seeing a while back in China. Maybe it's something like that. I think they're seeing glimpses or shadow, or maybe like a residual haunting, where people see like, old lady going down the hallway in a haunting all the time. It's some kind of residual energy. So who knows? But as far as there being relic populations of dinosaurs, I really don't think so. The Bishopville lizard man, I think they're aliens. Matt, is the government monitoring and experimenting with Dogman and Sasquatch? I've heard a lot of reports that they are. And I've heard from insiders who have had to go out and hunt these creatures when they get out of control, that they're what they call true bloods, Bigfoots that have been here for thousands of years, and some other varieties that have been genetically tampered and dumped out in the woods to be tracked and see how they come up with. And that's one of the big theories out there. Why are the reports increasing? I was actually going to do a video about that. I think it's, 10, 15 years ago, you said Bigfoot and half the people in the room didn't know what you're talking about. Now everybody at least has an idea of what a Bigfoot is. So I think when people see them, instead of it was a monkey or it was a bear on 2 legs, people can actually say it was a Bigfoot. That populations are also increasing. I think the internet has kind of destigmatized weirdos somewhat. So if you come out and say you saw Bigfoot You're maybe not going to be as ridiculed as even as you were 5 or 10, 15 years ago. So people are more willing to report them. The portals are open. I also think on the other end of it, I think their numbers are increasing. I think Dogman numbers are increasing. Whether you want to go a paranormal point of view and say there's some kind of like Ghostbusters like thing going on where the paranormal energy of the world and the cosmos is shifting and these creatures are coming out, or portals are opening up, or just that there are natural populations of these things that happen to be doing really well right now and their numbers are coming back. Have you ever seen a Thunderbird? No, I have not seen a Thunderbird. Although I will say, for scale, I once saw a California condor, the big ugly buzzard that they try to spend all this money protecting. I don't know. I was like, oh, the graceful California condor, and I saw one, and it's just this big ugly buzzard with all these spots on it. And I'm like, oh, this is what all the fuss is about? Anyway, so I actually saw one out in the wild. It flew over, and it was just kind of like this light whooshing noise. And it was like, have you ever been next to a plane when a shadow goes over you? It was like that. It was just a giant shadow. My brother-in-law was with me. We looked at each other and we're like, whoa, that was a big bird. And then we saw it land, and sure enough, it was a giant, like much bigger than like a normal buzzard. And we're like, wow, dude, I think that's a condor. And the wingspan was just huge. And I think they get 15, 20 feet, their wingspans. And when they fly over 10 or 15 feet above your head, it seems huge and, oddly quiet because they're just gliding. So no, I don't think that that's what Thunderbirds are. I don't think they're misidentifications of condors, but just as a size, that's the biggest natural creature I've ever seen fly over, and it was spectacularly big. You're the best at doing a John Hammond from... Your best bet is doing a John Hammond from Jurassic Park. Yes, exactly. And cloning him. Who do you think would win, an alpha dogman or a Wendigo? I don't know. I think the alpha dogman would probably, just out of curiosity. The Wendigo Bigfoot seem to be slightly skinnier. Still huge, still tall, but they don't seem to have the bulk a lot of people report as maybe like a type 1 Bigfoot. But the teeth and claws in general, distemper that they have. It would be a fight to the... I don't know. But see, I think the Bigfoot, the Wendigo, would probably be more likely to pick up a log or a rock and use weapons. But that's just assuming a one-on-one, because I think both would probably travel in packs or clans. I don't know. I'm Wendigo, not skinny. No, I'm not saying that they're skinny, Duke. I'm just saying from some of the stories I've heard that they just... I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Some of the people I've talked to said that they were juvenile Wendigos, and that's why. But they said they just didn't have the bulk that some people described. But I imagine some of them are just absolutely like the Incredible Hulk with teeth and fangs. Anyway, Skinwalker type, skinny. Yeah, well, that's the skinny. I didn't mean skinny like skinny. I just meant like closer to maybe like a stretched out type 2 as opposed to like a stretched out type 1. That's pretty much what I meant. But I could be completely wrong. I wouldn't want to mess with either one. I think it would be a very ferocious fight. Both are known to be very big. What do you think of Skinwalkers? I think they're some kind of ancient American demon that either possesses people and is able to cloak them or give them unnatural abilities to use skins to morph into other animals. Almost kind of like in witchcraft, like a glamour. I think it's something kind of like that. Where did you have your first encounter? It was in the Southern Sierras, just east of Sequoia National Park. Or just west of Sequoia National Park, sorry. In Los Angeles, under Griffith Park, there's supposed to be tunnels that belong to an ancient race belonging to the reptilian race. Yeah, I've heard a lot of that stuff too. I think it's interesting. What do you think? What is your opinion on the shape-shifting reptilian conspiracy? I know it makes I don't know what to make of it with all the weird shit out there. I do believe there are reptilian aliens, and I do believe there's a lot of different species of aliens out there. Are they the shape-shifting reptilian, like the ones you see, oh, here's Hillary Clinton or Obama, and you can see their eye turns yellow for a second. You see those videos on YouTube. I don't know about that. I just really don't know. But I think there are real creatures out there. So, Tigers in the Mist. Whoa. How many users we got now? 133. Okay, let's just go down to the bottom. Is there patty-type Bigfoots in the Midwest and Oklahoma? Yeah, I would say so. I would say, probably a year ago, I probably would have told you they were type 2s, but people kind of see type 1s and type 2s kind of all over the place. I think they kind of can be found in the same areas, and I think they can share areas. And was that in Kings Canyon? That's where I had an encounter. No, it wasn't in Kings Canyon. It was Flat Earther here. No aliens. Okay, dude. I'd like to see you as a guest at more conferences. Me too. If you know anybody that runs a conference, have them email me. Don't forget my ex-wife in the discussion of nasty cryptids. What was more nasty, your ex-wife or your ex-wife's lawyer? I usually find that they're just absolute scum. I'm just kidding. Do you think Sasquatch is drawn to spiritual activity? Yeah, there's a lot of people want to throw out the whole psychic talk and mind speak and all the other side of Bigfoot. I think there's definitely something to it. I think there really is. So yeah, I think they could be drawn to it. Like I said, you know how animals sense good people and bad people. You know, your dog growls at somebody and you don't really like them. Brian Sullivan, Duke. Yes, both are incredibly bad news. Gugwe versus an alpha dogman. Who would win? The Gugwe. I think they're the baddest of the bad. There's just something, I don't know. Is there patty types in the Northwest? Blah, blah, blah. Brown Dwarf, it was an avenue of the Giants about a mile north of Redway. There is a pullout and they're crossed between... Oh, it jumped on me. Sorry, the chat jumps sometimes, right, when I'm reading something. One kept throwing rocks at my truck in the middle of the night, turned the headlights on, and saw a really tall brown Sasquatch. It freaked me out, and I drove off our hunting property. No one believes me. I believe you. In fact, that's why I've started when I go places, I back in and make sure I know where the keys are. I leave them like on a counter, like right next to a door. Because if I got to like get out of here right now, I don't want to have to back up or anything. I want to just hop in that car and go. I'll drive through the gate or whatever's over there. Matt, do you think Bigfoot gets sighted in graveyards? Why do you think Bigfoots get sighted in graveyards? I don't know. Maybe it's the smell. Maybe because they see a spiritual connection to people. Maybe just if you want to throw all the spirituality out of it for a minute, they see people show up. I think they know that people are buried there dead, and they see humans going there to venerate their dead and leave flowers, and they see people crying, and they see people gathered in mourning. So I think they know it as like, because a lot of reports of Sasquatch burying their dead, and I think they know that we bury our dead, and they think like us, it's a sacred space, so I think they think it's a sacred space. If you want to talk about hauntings and spiritualities, that could be something else, but I think they know it's a special place to humans where we bury our dead, and I think maybe they have a fascination with it. No, I don't think they're stealing corpses and eating them or anything weird like that. I think that I think that they know it's like a sacred space to us, and they're probably curious that we bury our dead or burn our dead, and then we all gather around and cry and throw dirt down on them and do our little ceremonies. So, yeah, I think that maybe could. I think that could be. Do you think sea creatures or lake monsters are scarier? I think lake monsters, because I'm more likely to be out on a lake than the ocean. I'm not much of a water person. I think sea creatures definitely have more of a chance of existing because there's just so much more open space for them to move around. What do you make of the theory that Dogman was created as means to control the Sasquatch population? I wonder if the theory should be reversed. There's definitely a lot of theories that Dogman was created to control either the mountain giants or the giants that live deep in the earth, and when there's an awakening that some people think we're going through right now, that Bigfoots and Dogmen will be the defenders of humanity, and they're kind of like the neutral chaotic or the chaotic good. They're kind of out there. Maybe they abduct people, maybe they protect people, but they're just kind of doing their lives, and their true purpose hasn't come up yet. There's lots of theories on that. There are also theories that the Atlanteans created Bigfoots as laborers and Dogmen as like guard dogs. So yeah, I don't know. I think that them sharing space, whether they were meant to or not, probably keep each other, because being very large creatures, they can only support so much deer and wildlife and everything else that they're going to feed on. So yeah, I think there's a lot of natural balance there. Okay, it wouldn't be a kitty. Wouldn't be a Mattsquatch Presents without a kitty cameo. So this is Daphne. Say hi, Daphne. My chubbers. Yes. Anyway, so no, I can't hear. So yeah, I don't know. I think there's a definitely seems like with the Dogman that something put those creatures together where you might have an idea of um, where Bigfoot might be a little more natural. Let's see here. No, it smells there, Matt. uh, Good answer. Couldn't get one from the Bigfoot Outlaws when I asked them that. Yeah, like I said, I think I think it's interesting why Bigfoots are seen around graveyards and why they may be interested in it. Because, like I said, I think they have a curiosity with us. And if they see us all show up wearing black and crying, clearly in distress, looking at this body in a casket get this lowered down in the earth, or people are crying around this little urn that remains, I think the Bigfoots know what's going on. And I think they just think it's a sacred space. Or they could have a connection to the dead, or it could be paranormal. It could be drawn to it. Maybe the negative sorrow emotion draws them in out of curiosity. I don't know. But I know there's a lot of, because the Outlaws are very scientific, very, grounded research. I try to be, but I also don't completely dismiss the woo stuff either. So who knows? um, let's see what else we got here. All right, guys, we're going to get going here in a minute. So we're just going to answer one or two more questions, and we're going to hang it up for the night. The night I saw one, I honestly seemed very hostile. I believe in them, but I figured if they did exist, they would be peaceful. I know it has definitely wanted to scare me and wanted me gone. I think it's kind of like if people broke into your house in the middle of the night, maybe even unintentionally, they thought it was their friend's house and it wasn't, and you went into their house, and you have kids and you have your wife there or your significant other, just people in your house that weren't invited, I think you're going to respond to them quite hostily. Who are you? Get out of here. I'm calling the cops. Flashlight and gun in your hand. And that was your first encounter with that person going into their house uninvited. You'd probably think that they were jerks too. So I think there's something about it. I think Bigfoot can be curious. But I think if they have young around, they're in a bad mood. Maybe you interrupted their hunt and you had no idea. Yeah, I think it just could be a variety of reasons. Kind of like with bears, Let's see what I got here. Anything good? What do you think of Todd Standing? Yeah, that's a whole ball of wax one day. I don't know if I want to piss anybody off. I think some of his work is good. I think some of Todd Standing's stuff with some of his night vision and some of his, where he catches him for a glimpse, and the one he had a long time ago, but running up a hillside. I think he's got some good evidence and some good footprints, and he helped Dr. Jeff Meldrum see one. I think he's got some good evidence, but his close-up face shots that he shows everybody, I am just not convinced that those are real. I'll put it that way. All the Bigfoots he reports are Bigfoot. The black-faced Bigfoot, the one that looks like a patty that blinks, and then the original Muppet one all look completely different from each other. And everybody always points out, Matt, there are different types of Bigfoot. Yeah, I know. I'm the guy who did the 10 types of Bigfoot video. And his really don't look like any of them. I guess the one kind of looks like Patty, but with more human proportions. Not Patty proportions, not big broad nose and big broad eyes and jaws. It just looks like a human with a mask. And I'm just not completely convinced. What was so great about the Patty film is we could see its face, we could see its arms, its legs, its hips, we could see it move, and we could see that it wasn't human. There's no way a human would fit into a costume because the joints are in the wrong place. A costume's a costume, but you can't move joints. You can't make a knee go higher and up or down. Even with arm extensions, you can make the forearm longer, but the elbow would be in the same place. And the fact that we haven't seen that in any of his videos. I mean, the one where it runs up the hillside for a second, you kind of get a glimpse. But the ones are the very clear close-up shots. And when he said that he's filmed Bigfoot close-up and clear 8 times, clear high-resolution footage 8 times, and who else has done that? He was bragging about it, and I'm like, yeah, who else has done that? You're very lucky to catch these things on film, even in a fleeting. Maybe once in a lifetime could you ever get very clear footage of Bigfoot, and if you did, I think there's forces at work would not let you put it out there. So when somebody comes to me and says, I filmed Bigfoot clearly bunches of times, here's a face shot, here's another face shot, here's another face shot, and not show proportions or bodies or any other kind of locomotion, And to do it again and again and again, I just have to question. I'm like, you might get lucky once, you might be good once, but to have it that many times, I'm just not convinced. So that's how I feel about Todd Standing. I wish him luck. I hope he continues to bring more people into the field. So yeah, that's what I'm going to say about Todd Standing. I agree, 10'5". What did 10'5" say? Hi, 10'5". Um, Again, good answer. Thanks, if that was referring to Todd Standing. I know he's a controversial figure, and I don't want to upset anybody. If you like his stuff and you like Todd Standing and you think his stuff is 100% real, great. You have every right to, and I'm not here to convince you otherwise. I'm just saying personally, I don't believe all of his work to be genuine. And yeah, and there's other hearsay stuff about actors who were in his films and about other actors been in his film saying they signed non-disclosure agreements, or production companies that made the costume saying, well, we thought it was for a film, not a mockumentary or a documentary. And that's all hearsay, and I can't confirm that. So do you think Bigfoot and Dogman are related? Other than being mammals and maybe at some point in their history, either recently or long ago, having some kind of genetic alteration, maybe may or may not by the same people. No, I don't think they are closely related. I think that maybe they had the same creators, if that makes sense. Didn't Thinker Thunker break down some of Standing's videos? He did, and it has human proportions. Now, that doesn't mean it's not a Bigfoot with human proportions he filmed. It just means that the people in the mask don't line up to any, like the white-faced Bigfoot or the Patterson film or any of the other purported pictures of a Sasquatch face. The proportions don't match anything else. All right, we're running low on time here. I got to get going, so we're going to do one or two more. Let me find a good one here. You think human can be turned into a dogman or from a human experimentation? Maybe. I don't know. I think we're too genetically different, though, to probably get that close. Do you believe in a rake creature? Yes, I do. I honestly do. I think there's some kind of demonic entity from another realm. Yeah, I did a video on the rake a while back. It was one of my earlier films. You probably go back there. There's all these films I did that maybe like 400 people watched back when I had like 500 subscribers or less. I really want to go through and redo a lot of these videos. Not that I'm running out of ideas, but it's just like the rake video, some of the early Dogman videos, some of the giant videos I did. I want to go back and redo those. The Goatman, I did a video about the Goatman too. Maybe redo that one. Although that one wasn't that long ago. Although I think the stuff I did last summer is not that long ago, and I guess it kind of was. Anyway, so we're going to do one or two more questions here, then we're going to hang it up. Anybody got anything else? Dog Squatch. Are there any photos of mountain giants? Not that I'm aware of. They're incredibly rare and live incredibly remote. Duke would be a good one to ask that, but not that I've ever seen or heard. Yes, some localities have city or county laws. Yes, states, I believe Washington, in some areas they actually say, hey, you shoot a Bigfoot, you could be in trouble. I don't recommend you going out and hunting them or shooting them. If you have to shoot one in self-defense, that's self-defense, you know. But I don't recommend you go out trying to hunt one. Hiking with Sasquatch Outlaws. Good night, everyone. So glad many people are interested in Bigfoot. Thoughts on the K? I don't know what the K is. If the wall's built, how do you feel it will affect wildlife? I feel it probably will, although most of the desert is smaller wildlife. I guess maybe mule deer. It's not like bears and elk and stuff like that got to cross over the border. Dogman and Bigfoot, I think, could probably just hop right over it. Boy, are they going to be surprised when the drug cartels go in their tunnels and there's a Sasquatch crawling through one. Okay, one more. Do you know the Quanani leprositas? No, I don't. It sounds vaguely familiar, like I've heard somebody mention it, but I don't know anything about it. I never got in trouble for shooting one. Well, then you're lucky. Be safe, Matt Monster. Thanks. Thanks again. All right. How much do you think a Bigfoot body would be worth? I don't know. How much would somebody pay for it? You're going to do the Minnesota Iceman thing and drive around and show it to people and charge $10 a head? That'd be really great at the OC Fair we have here every year. They have the giant alligator and the giant steer and the giant horse. Come see the incredible dead Sasquatch. Uh, Step right up. The Undiscovered Species Act, federal, carries up to fine of $1 million and 10 years in prison. There you go, Duke. You are the man. Anyway, do you think a Gugwe would make a good pet? Yeah, but you need to get that big-ass bag of Temptations cat treats to feed him. He can bench press 3,700 pounds. I watched him do it. Wow. Okay, well, all right, guys. I'm going to say good evening to you guys and have a good night. You stay safe out there in the woods. And haven't done a live stream in a while, so I figured I'd throw this out here. Let me stumble through my computer skills here and turn off my encoder. By the way, live streaming is a real pain in the ass to try to set up. I know those gamer people do it. They have a split screen with like a game going and then like a live feed, and then they have like a live stream from another guy from across the country he's playing games with, and they're all talking at the same time, and it's all smooth. Maybe I should there's a bunch of kids that live around here. I'm just going to go find a 14 or 15-year-old kid, when the kids all play video games around here, and be like, hey, I'm old. How do I make this work? And I'll probably get a big eye roll, and they go, oh, you just do this and that, and then you put this code in here and you sync that, and then you hook up your webcam like this, and oh my God, I'll probably get something like that. Oh, actually, my nephew Cole, he's 16, 17? William might know too. I have nephews. They might help me. Anyway, have a good night, folks, and